Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Not point of order, but it should go on record that the cabinet secretary is misleading the House. You know why? The list is saying he has filed through the secretariat. It's not there. So why is he playing with the minds of Kenyans? Mr. Speaker, we are serious people. We don't wake up here to come and joke around. If the CS cannot take his work seriously, Mr. Speaker, he should be sanctioned, because the issue Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, have been conned daily by fake recruitment agencies, Mr. Speaker. So I find it a disrespect to this House that a whole cabinet secretary, who is not new, to come before the Senate and mislead the House, to mislead people who have sat even in cabinet, including Senator Onyonga, who was assistant minister, Mr. Speaker. Is it even fair? The cabinet secretary must, Mr. Speaker, apologize to this House for lying, Mr. Speaker, not lying, for misrepresenting, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Cherargei,
Number two, Mr. Speaker.
Just have your seat.
Okay.
For some communication. The Secretariat is following up on this list to check whether it was attached or not. So before you make those allegations, let us first confirm. You know, Senate is House of Records. We confirm first, and then you can maybe comment. But what I want to do is to ask the Secretary to confirm whether this list was attached, and also your officers also to counter-check whether they did it. But meanwhile, you can ask your supplementary questions.
Mr. Speaker, and you have to note that unless you struck off the answered, because in his response, the CS says he has attached. So I hope the Secretariat will strike out that part of the answer so that we don't mislead Kenyans. One question so that I allow other colleagues, I'll come later for mine. Mr. Speaker, you agree with me, and this is my first supplementary question. No wonder Kenyans are conned daily. Because if the Cabinet Secretary cannot provide a list of cleared recruitment agencies in the country, by telling Kenyans, Kenyans to go to website, how will be somebody in Machakos, somewhere in Tala, have an internet? If the CS could come and table the list of all recruitment agencies, those who have been blacklisted, is it hard, Mr. Speaker? How will his grandmother somewhere in Makweni in Wote know from where Mr. Kafuluka comes from, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, it must be even my own grandmother somewhere in Nandi, Mr. Speaker, even in Bomet, how can they go to website? No wonder, Mr. Speaker, everybody is gone. Can the CS, Mr. Speaker, even in Meru where you come from, can the CS table the agencies that have been cleared to do recruitment, that have been blacklisted, Mr. Speaker, that are pending clearance? Then I can have satisfaction of my response to us. Otherwise, if it doesn't table, Mr. Speaker, then we are gerrymandering with the lives of Kenyans.
Senator Cherargei, you know the one went digital a long time ago. And that is why I think in that spirit, the CS is maybe requesting you to just click on the website and get the list. Because the one has gone digital on so many things. Do you have a smartphone with you? Do you have a smartphone? We can test this website, whether it is working. No, I've just asked you a question when is it.
See, I thought I should go on record. Mr. Speaker, this is not about Cherargei, it's about the ordinary Kenyans in Kibra who don't have smartphones, Mr. Speaker. How many Kenyans do they have smartphones? Even in Meru itself.
Senator Cherargei,
it might be 1%.
Because this is your question. I'm just asking whether you attempted even to click on the website. Did you try?
I am asking on behalf of Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. It is the cabinet minister, Mr. Speaker, to provide information. Even in Nandi, the people who can access smartphones across the country are less than 1%, Mr. Speaker. So it is not fair, Mr. Speaker, that you allow the CS to slide with.
No, the CS will answer your question, but I was just asking you a supplementary.
No, I can prove, yes, but Mr. Speaker, I didn't get that information because when you go to website of NEA, there is no recruitment that has been blacklisted, that is pending approval, that is functional, including first choice recruitment agency, the worldwide, Mr. Speaker. So the point, Mr. Speaker, we are asking these questions on behalf of Kenyans. I'm not asking on behalf of Cherargei or my family or my other interests.
Have your seat.
I'm out of procedure.
But also, Senator Cherargei, don't you know that also Kenyans would like to know whether you are able to use internet? Waziri, respond to the question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I'd like to say that as far as I know with my records, I signed the list. I attached it, and it was delivered to Parliament. We'll follow up with my staff to see whether the people did the right thing. So I cannot say it is attached if it is not attached. It was part of my answer. It was delivered. And so we'll check. If there's any misnomer, my apologies, it will be given, but I believe the list is provided because I looked at the list, I signed it myself, and got it attached. Number two, Mr. Speaker, it is important, I want to say two things. One, Kenyans who are applying for jobs, applying for a job is a full-time job. If you want to apply for a job and you want to go and work in India, in Turkey, in Saudi Arabia, in many countries, if you're applying for a job, you do research about the job from wherever you are. And you may not have a smartphone, but you're a young man, and the Gen Zs who are applying for this, they have access. They can talk to somebody with a smartphone, and they can be able to look. What I want to tell Kenyans is this: be very careful about recruitment agencies that come to your village and tell you they're recruiting you and they want you to send you to overseas, and that you need to pay them some money to process your documents. That is why we have this list that is alive. And I know paper is important because the list I may even give you, the list I've given you on paper, has already changed because it is live. And in the words of US presidential candidate Kamala Harris, we are not going back. We have to move forward with technology. We can't continue going back on paper. We need to move forward with technology. So I do understand the challenges that we are facing. That is why the government is rolling out the digital network that is going to encompass basically every village in our country where there are schools, and so that we ensure that people can be connected and you can actually log in for free and be able to check. So I urge Kenyans, and they can talk to their leaders, to their senators, and I like the spirit Senator Cherargei has in protecting his people. Talk to your senator, talk to your MCA, say this person has recruited me. Are they valid? So we can double check so that you are not conned. The other thing that I'm doing is that I want to work with the agencies in a way that if the agency, because the agencies are being paid a fee, a commission, that wherever it is possible, which should be about 90% of the time, they should not charge a Kenyan for any processing fee. So they absorb that as part of their cost, so that Kenyans are not defrauded, being told, pay this amount of money, we'll take you overseas. Unauza shamba, unauza gari, unauza, all your savings, you put them there, and then you find the person is fake. So we want to get into a system whereby let them get access to financing, get their people all sorted, and then they'll be paid their fee. So it's a service they're providing. They don't need to charge the Kenyans. So we're working through that system to ensure that people get their right. So I urge leaders in this country to please also support us in ensuring we identify rogue ones. And the best way is to go into the internet, look at that live link, which keeps on changing every hour, to ensure that that person maybe say they are there, by a day or two, they have been removed. So keep on checking before you engage and sign documents. I submit, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senator Kadri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My question to the CS is whether